Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the online information session for the Turing Internship Network. We have participants joining us today, and today we'll be presenting on the opportunities available through the scheme, talk about the eligibility criteria, how to apply, and answer any questions that you may have about the program. So while we wait for attendees to join the session, I would like to cover some housekeeping bits. So first of all, please be aware that the session today is recorded. This is a webinar and only panelists, so me and my colleague Jules, will be speaking, and you'll be able to see us and we'll be speaking. Attendees will be able to submit any questions, any comments via the Q&A function that you can see at the bottom of the screen throughout the event. If multiple attendees are interested in receiving an answer for a specific question, please note that you can upvote a question by clicking the thumbs up icon. And please also note that if you have any, that you have the option to submit your questions, comments anonymously if you wish to do so. I'm just looking at the number of attendees that are joining us today, and just waiting for a second until numbers settle, and then we can start with the webinar. In the meantime, you'll be able to see a welcome message in the chat and also a reminder of our events code of conduct linked in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. So without further ado, I'm going to start the webinar. And once again, I would like to welcome everyone to this online information session for the Turing Internship Network. My name is Anna Bermani. I am the Applied Skills Project Officer responsible for the recruitment and development of the scheme. I am joined today by Jules Manzer. Jules, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jules. I'm the Applied Skills Programs Manager, primarily looking after the data study groups and working with Anna for the TIN project. Welcome all.
Thank you, Jules. Both Jules and I will be available to answer any questions you may have today. Jules will be answering some questions throughout the webinar, and also at the end of the webinar, we'll have plenty of time to answer questions. So please do drop them in the Q&A function box at the bottom of the screen. So today's webinar will cover information. Well, it will give a brief introduction to what the scheme is about. We will talk about the eligibility. We'll share some information about eligibility for international students. We'll take a look at what opportunities are available in this current recruitment round. And we'll share some tips and tricks on how to apply for the scheme and really submit a strong application. And then we will have plenty of time, like I said before, to answer any questions you may have. Jules, can I ask for the next slide, please? Yeah, so this is the summary, and we'll go, obviously, we'll talk about the recruitment timeline. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the Turing Internship Network, also abbreviated TIN, you will see TIN written in all our slides, is the Institute's internship scheme that connects doctoral students, PhD students studying at a university in the UK or Ireland with our partners and collaborators. We work with a portfolio of partners that go from big corporations to SMEs to government departments and third sector. So there are opportunities, really any opportunities that you can think of in any sector, you can probably find via the Turing Internship Network. One of the goals of the Institute, of the Alan Turing Institute, is to train the next generation of data scientists. And the Turing Internship Network is one of the tools that we use to sort of achieve this goal. We're really trying to offer unique opportunities to doctoral students to upskill and to access internship roles and opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't be able to undertake. So we are really excited that we can offer in this new recruitment round 12 internship roles offered by 16 partners and collaborators. You can see the logos here on the slide. For this recruitment round, we're working with HSBC, Bumble, GCHQ, the Ministry of Justice, Ofcom, and unique for this recruitment round, the Alan Turing Institute is joining the network and advertising a role as a host organization. So really unique for the specific round. Next slide, please. So let's have a look at the internship roles that are available. Probably some of you have already looked at the roles that have been published on our webpage. We are currently offering 3 to 6 months internships with an indicative start date of September 2023, so this year. Most internships are going to start in September and October. Some may start further towards the end of the year, and some others could start at the beginning of next year. This is due to the fact that partners have their own onboarding processes they need to go through. Some of them may want you to go through security checks, background checks, and those may take some time to be completed. But most of the partners that you see listed on the slide and the roles that are advertising will enable you to start around September and October. These are the roles that we are advertising are all paid roles, and the salary, all the salaries that are offered through our roles offer a minimum of 30,000 pounds per annum, prorated, obviously applied to the length of the internship that you choose. For all the details about the roles that we're currently advertising, I invite you to check out our webpage. They're all published there, except for roles advertised by GCHQ. To have visibility for those roles, you will have to apply, basically to open an application form, open an account, and then an application form on FlexiGrant, our application portal. And once you have done that, you will be able to review any roles offered by GCHQ. The rest are already published on the website. And once again, as I mentioned before, the Alan Turing Institute is joining the network, offering a role, so do check out that one as well. Most roles in this recruitment round are offered both full-time and part-time. So these are will allow for flexible working for those of you who prefer to work part-time, or for those of you who only have the right to work in the UK part-time. And full-time roles, only full-time roles are offered by HSBC in this round. So for those of you looking to work full-time, HSBC is definitely another option there. Next slide, please. So let's have a look at the eligibility criteria for the program. These are listed on our webpage and also in our call document. But just to have an overview, the scheme is targets doctoral students, current doctoral students enrolled at a university based in UK and Ireland. We include Ireland because we often advertise roles that are based in Dublin, so there's also the possibility there to work there. In this specific round, we don't have any roles based in Dublin, but just so you know, Ireland is there because sometimes we have this opportunity as well. Very, very important for this scheme is the fact that doctoral students have the right to work in the UK or Ireland and to be based in the UK and Ireland. So this is very important for you to check and ensure that you have this right before you submit an application via FlexiGrant. We are looking for students who are studying for a PhD that definitely has a focus on specific areas such as stats, maths, data science, and computer science. For this specific recruitment round, all our roles are very much focused on technical skills. In the past, in previous recruitment rounds, we also advertised roles that were a bit more focused on public policy. So for those will be available again in the future, may be available again in the future. So something to look out for if any of you are interested in those roles as well. But for now, for this recruitment round, definitely a focus on technical skills. We are looking for, well, we have students who are applying for full-time roles will be required to post their studies for the entire duration of the internship, unless, again, you're applying for an internship part-time with flexible working. In that case, you'll be able to continue your PhD alongside your part-time internship. And last but not least, very important, before you apply for a role, we invite you to check with your supervisor and university department that you have their support to apply for this scheme. You should never apply for the Turing Internship Network without having received an approval from your university department and your supervisor. So they should both should be aware that you have applied for an internship, especially for those that require that you stop the clock, that you stop your doctoral program. These are the general eligibility criteria for the program. For specific partners, there are some additional eligibility criteria that are advertised and highlighted in the job descriptions that you find on the website. And I want to point your attention towards one specifically eligibility criterion that is required for GCHQ. Anybody applying for roles at GCHQ must have been residing in the UK for a minimum of 4 years within the past 5 years. This is a strict eligibility criterion. If you do not have this, unfortunately, your application will automatically reject it. So please make sure that you tick this box, and this will be asked at the application stage. And all this will be also checked by GCHQ. So please make sure that you have, you do tick this part, otherwise you will be rejected. Next slide, please. Before I talk about how you will apply for the scheme, I would like to dedicate a couple of minutes to international students who are on a student visa. Tier 4 visa was previously called. Some students may still call it Tier 4, some others a student visa. But this visa allows international students to study in the UK and work for up to 20 hours per week. So international students should be aware of this. And before they apply for the Turing Internship Network, they should be 100% sure about the hours they can work during the week. Legally, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. but your university, who's your visa sponsor, may put some caps on the hours that you are allowed to work. There may be some exceptions there, and some students may be allowed to work only 8 hours per week, or 12 hours per week, or 18 hours per week. So again, before you apply, we invite you to have a look at our information, the guidance that has just been linked to your to the chat box, and is also linked on our webpage that contains information for international students. And once you have read that, please go back to your university and double check how many hours you're allowed to work. Some students who are on a student visa may even be able to work full-time if they apply for a leave to work. This can be an option offered by some universities. Some other universities do not offer this option. We cannot tell you whether you can access this, but we can invite you to go back to your university and check if you have any options, such options that would allow you to work full-time. At the application stage, all international students will be required to prove the right to work via the government website, and you will need to generate a share code that will need to be added to the application before you submit it. And this share code, together with your date of birth, will be checked right after you submit your application to ensure that you are eligible to apply for the scheme and to work in the UK. So please ensure that this share code is added to your application before you submit. We regret to inform students, international students, that no work visa sponsorship is available through this program. So if you're seeking that, unfortunately, we will not be able to support, not us and not, unfortunately, not our partners. So let's have a quick look on how you apply for the Turing Internship Network. The first thing that I encourage everybody to do is to go to our team webpage on the Turing website and review the call document. The call document contains all the information that I'm presenting today and all the information that you need in order to apply for the scheme. Once you have reviewed the call document and you have reviewed all the roles that are published on the website, and you have chosen the role that you wish to apply, then at that point, you will be able to apply for the scheme. There is a link to our application portal, FlexiGrant. You can see a picture of the application portal right here on the slide. This link is at the top of the page of the teen webpage. Click on that link, create an account if you don't have it already, and then you will be able to apply for the scheme. You will be asked to apply for one role. So we will ask you to apply for your preferred role out of all the roles that are advertised. And then you will have the opportunity to say if you have a second preference, if you would like to be considered for a second role. You will share the code of the role that you would like, your second preference, and that you would like to be considered for. And if we think that you can be considered for that second role, then we will be in touch directly with you to collect some further information. But your application will be for your first preference. And all the information that you will provide should target that specific role that you're applying for. Once you reach 100% completed on the application form, you will see 100% at the top of the page. A button at the bottom of the last page will appear, and you will need to click that in order to submit the application. Please ensure that you click on submit. Otherwise, we will not receive your application. Your application will look as complete, but we will not receive it. So very, very important to do that before the deadline, which is on the 7th of June. at 11 a.m. British Standard Time. So do mark that day and make sure that you submit your application before that. So before we open up the stage for your questions, I would like to dedicate a few minutes to speaking about the assessment criteria, and in the following slide also to give you some tips and tricks on how to submit a strong application. But first, the assessment criteria. These are really what our partners are looking for. So the information that our partners are looking to receive and to review at the review stage. We have 4 assessment criteria. These are described in the call document, and we also have these assessment criteria extensively described and explained in a document linked to our webpage that gives you some guidance on how to apply, how to submit a competitive application. So please do check that document. Very, very important to know how to submit a strong application. But these assessment criteria are 4: motivation, knowledge and previous experience, skills and goals. Motivation, quite clear. We're looking to gather information about why you're interested in applying for the specific role. So please make sure that you're clear about why you're applying, show your interest, show your enthusiasm. This will definitely set your application apart from all the others. So please make sure that you do focus a lot on that first, the first question that focuses on the motivation. We will then have assess your knowledge and previous experience. This is clear. It's really the experience that you're bringing to the role. You will have the opportunity to describe all your history, education history, and also your experiences, previous work experiences, and also could be volunteer or any other experience that you would like to highlight. This will be in section 4 of the application form. When you open an application, you will clearly see where section 4 is. And then you will also have a space within section 5, which is the main part of the application, in which you will be able to describe your knowledge and previous experience that really applies to that specific role that you're applying for. The third assessment criterion is skills. We're looking for information about your skill set. Specifically for this round, we have quite a lot of technical skills that we're requiring from students. So highlighting those will be key for you and show how you will be able to perform well in the role thanks to the skills that you have already acquired through your PhD. And the last criterion is goals. And in this specific one, we're trying to gather information and assess what you hope to learn, what you're trying to achieve through the internship, what benefits you think you're bringing to the organization, and also what benefits you think interning at a specific organization will bring to your research. So please do dedicate some time to analyze and share any goals you have for applying for that specific role. You will have the opportunity to upload a resume if you want to. This I highly recommend to do so, although all the information will be collected by our application form. You will have this opportunity, and some partners ask to have some visibility of your resume before the interview. So if you're shortlisted and called for an interview, they may have a quick look at the resume as well. So I would invite everybody to upload a resume if you have one that is updated. Next slide, please. So this slide, I'm going to dedicate a few minutes on really making a point of highlighting what could be a weak application and what could make an application strong. I'm going to give you some information, bits and pieces here, but again, I would invite you to review the guidance that is linked to our webpage that really explains in a comprehensive way on how to apply for the Turing Internship Network and really how to submit a competitive application. But yeah, just to give you some examples here, in the past rounds, we have seen some weak applications that really don't go over, that don't really pass the first shortlist stage for a list of reasons. And you can see some of them highlighted here. For example, a weak application could be submitted by a candidate that quickly reads the role description and then immediately applies for the role without really understanding what's required, what the responsibilities are, what organization they're applying for as well. A strong application is the one submitted by somebody who really reads the role descriptions, understands what the role is about, what the project is about, the roles, the responsibilities, and takes the time also to research the organization, understand what they do, how they are sort of placed in the market, even the company culture. Some roles are more focused on business, some others may be offered by NGOs. So the company culture really changes there. Is the corporate culture or organization culture a good fit for you? So these are all things that should be analyzed and reviewed, and really you should gather information about this before submitting an application. A weak application usually does not really show a clear reason as to why a person is applying for the specific role. So really explaining, giving clear reasons why you're applying for that specific role instead of all the others that are offered in the specific recruitment round is key, and showing, as I was mentioning before, your motivation, your excitement really sets you apart from other applications. So please, I cannot stress this enough, ensure that you show the reasons, ensure that you explain why you're going for that specific role. Partners do check that part from the beginning. Generic statements about knowledge and skills should be avoided. A weak application will just say, just clear few lines about what you have been researching and what your skills are, without really creating that link with the job description and the role that you're applying for. My suggestion, my recommendation is that you really work on explaining what your knowledge, what your previous experience is about, linking that to the person's specification in the role description, and also use clear examples about showing how your previous experience can really help you perform well in that role. When you're creating examples, you can use the STAR method. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. No need to take notes. This is all captured in our guidance linked to the webpage, so you will find it there. Using STAR will really direct you to create solid examples that really show what you can do. And last but not least, unclear goals. Again, goals is one of the assessment criteria that we look at, that partners look at. So try not to be generic again when talking about your goals. We often have applications that say I would like to apply for technical skills on a real life scenario. That is a fantastic goal, but it is a bit generic. We need something more because partners see quite a lot of that. So really, to set yourself apart from other applications, we invite you to think about clear goals that may include a specific learning that you would like, anything specifically you would like to learn during the program, any impact that you would like to have inside the organization or wider community, anything that you would like to bring back to your research or to your PhD. So really think about why you're applying for the internship and what your goals are. To create some goals, we can suggest that you can use the SMART goal settings technique. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Again, all this is included in the guidance that we have linked on our webpage. So to wrap up, then we will have plenty of time to go over all your questions. Again, deadline to submit all your applications is the 7th of June, 11 a.m. So please ensure that you click on that submit button before 11 a.m. on that day. Just to give you an idea of what's going to happen after the call closes, we will have 2 review stages, one shortlist stage, and then a teen partner review stage. This will take place from the 7th of June until the start of July. And then for those students, for those applications that are shortlisted by the partner, we will get in touch with the sort of successful, from the shortlist, successful students, and we will invite you to an interview from the middle of July onwards. We hope to go out with the first offers from the beginning of August, but really during the month of August, you should hear about an outcome from your application / your interview. So August is the month to keep in mind for any results. Once if you are lucky, if you're successful, if you're successful and you've been offered a role through the internship network, then you will be signposted to the team within the Turing partner that works at the Turing partner to sign your contract. So your contract will be signed directly with the partner, and then you will start the onboarding procedure with the partner. So your relationship with the Turing Internship Network will stop there for the time in which you sign the contract and then you get onboarded. We will then reconnect with you. The Alan Turing Institute will then reconnect with you to have 3 slight touch check-in stages throughout your program: at the beginning, midpoint check-in, and also at the end of the program, and to share any training activities and events that are available to interns as well. So you will have a little bit of exposure to what the Turing does while you are placed at the team partner and while you're focused on your internships. So there will be that as well as a program component. So this is really the end of our information session, the information part of it. Here you can see the address to the Turing Internship Network webpage. If you have any questions after this webinar, we're happy to receive any emails from you at the Internship Network at turing.ac.uk, and also if you want to chat with us directly you can also give us a call at the number there. So I'm very happy to open the stage now. For them to read any questions that.
Got some loads of questions.
Lots of questions. I love questions.
Okay, so here's one. Oh, where did it disappear? What's going on here?
I can see quite a lot of them, actually.
Yeah. So you said before that applicants will need approval from their university and from their supervisor. What kind of approval do you need? Is it a letter, email? Does it need to be on headed note paper? Could you give some more information on what that approval looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do not ask you to provide any letter, any evidence, but we invite you to, so it's really on you, your responsibility to check with your supervisor and university department that you are allowed to work, to apply for the Turing Internship Network. So we don't ask for any evidence, but it is recommendable that you
so basically, what you're saying is that we're not going to check. And if you don't check with your school and supervisor and you get an internship, you will be the one who will have to deal with the fallout, the problems that will be created by not having checked with your university. And that will be on you, not us. So probably a very good idea to double check with everybody and make sure you have satisfied that you have the correct permissions from your school and supervisor.
In practical, yes. And we had students that did not check, and then their supervisors really were not happy about them interning. So things can get complicated. So we absolutely recommend that you get approval, or that at least that your university and your supervisor are aware that you're submitting an application and they're happy for you to apply.
Right, so a couple of questions around the applications. Is it required to have a publication history to be a good candidate for an internship?
That is not a requirement. You're welcome to share information about any publications that you have, but it is not a requirement generally speaking, for applying for the Turing Internship Network. I recommend you that you check the role descriptions. If there is such requirement, if any partner is interested in any publications, that would be highlighted on the person specification, or really on the job, the role description. Off the top of my head, I cannot see any partners currently advertising requiring any publications, so you should be good. But do double check, do read carefully the role descriptions, because everything that is required is contained in there.
You mentioned earlier about being able to choose a second preference if we're not sure which role to go for. Is it possible to use a separate cover letter from the main application for that secondary role?
So we do not accept cover letters. All team partners will assess applications based on the application form that you submit. So this is really important. There is consistency there, and all applicants are assessed based on what our sort of template. In case we can consider you for your second preference. At that point, some of our a member of our team will reach out to you and will gather information with sort of basically another application form. We will collect specific information for that specific role with the same template or the same application form for consistency, and really for to be fair, for fairness towards all applicants. So no need to submit any cover letter. If you can be considered, then somebody within the team will reach out to you.
Okay, a question about, I suppose, where one might be in their PhD journey, as it were. So there are some quite advanced experiences and skills that are required for some of these internships. Is this because of the competitive nature of the applications, or is it expected that most applicants will be final year PhDs rather than first year?
That's a fantastic question. So the Turing Internship Network is really open to all students from the first year to the final year. Obviously, depending on the role and the partner, there are some roles that require a bit more advanced skills and expertise, and others that allow for applications from students that are a bit at the beginning of their journey within their doctoral program. Anybody is welcome. Obviously, you will have again to check the person's specification to really understand whether you can you have those skills and expertise, and if not, you might want to wait maybe a year or two and look at opportunities in the next round in September could offer something that is suitable for you.
What about if I am a third year student and I've actually submitted my PhD thesis? Am I still allowed to apply for these internships?
Yes, you're allowed to apply for these internships. We're happy to receive applications from people that have submitted their thesis and will graduate of the internship as well. So sort of really super recent graduate are welcome to apply for the scheme, and partners are always happy to welcome to the applications from students that are even just graduated. So no problem, absolutely no problem with that.
Okay, we've got a question with regards to the, I guess it's the international students. Regarding the residence requirement, is it sufficient to show that we have been enrolled at a UK university during the time, or does it mean we have to be physically be in the UK? I think that's general for the roles, I think.
Yeah, so this question is specific about the eligibility criterion for GCHQ. So you will be asked to provide specific information of where you have resided within those 4 years. So you will have to show evidence that you have been physically in the UK during those 4 years. So yeah, this is something to keep in mind. You need to sort of tick that box and also show where exactly you have been living.
Definitely,
in the UK.
you will need to be in the UK.
Yes, for GCHQ, that's
but not necessarily at university, but just being here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's look. Let's imagine I get the position for one of these internships. How much influence over when the role starts do I have, or is it predetermined?
Depends on the partner. There are some partners that are really keen to get students on board, but most of the times there is flexibility there to say, I need some extra, a few more weeks, I need a month. But yeah, it really depends on the partner. There is space for you to discuss this for sure. Unfortunately, there's no rule, but it's not from the partners that we're working in this round. There's no set date. So that's there is a bit of flexibility there.
Okay.
I see somebody is asking, if you are unsuccessful in this round, would it affect future applications? Absolutely not. If you're unsuccessful in this round, you're welcome to apply for the next round and the next round and the next round, as long as you're a PhD student.
What about if my PhD isn't directly relevant to these projects on offer? Is it common for students to be offered roles where they who have relevant technical skills, but not a relevant PhD topic?
Very common, very common. So we welcome cross-disciplinary here. There are some partners that really see the technical skills that you have, and even if you're not, let's say you're not, your research is not focused on finance, but you're applying for a role at HSBC, we had students that were not researching finance and economics and were appointed for roles at HSBC. So it doesn't have to be that your research clearly like aligns to the role. Partners are really open, let's say open-minded, and really look for that expertise and that technical skills that are key for the role. So definitely do apply even if your research doesn't align specifically to the focus of the role.
Cool. I think there's still a little bit of confusion on the GCHQ one. So
yeah,
just for clarity's sake, let's say I came here 4 years ago. I was maybe doing some other things, but last year I started a PhD. So I'm technically in my first year of my PhD, but I've been living in the UK for 4 years, the 4 previous years. I still can apply for that GCHQ one, right?
Yes, you can apply. As long as you can evidence that you have been in the UK for the past 4 years, within the last 5 years, it doesn't have to be consecutive. That's what I'm trying to say. You can apply.
Hopefully that helps you, anonymous attendee. But please just drop us an email if you're still not too sure. Yes. I'm a little bit confused as what that other question is, so maybe they might be able to clarify.
I think somebody was asking about the recording. So we are recording the session today, and you will be able to see the recording linked to the TIN webpage in the next few days. As soon as it's available, it will be linked. And obviously, any questions that you may have, you can email us directly.
Should I include information about why I want to apply for the internship, or only information about why I want to apply for the particular role at the company?
Well, information can, for both really, obviously do say why you're applying for the specifics for the scheme, but then the core, the key information that you need to share will be about that specific role, because the partners are assessing that. So partners are really looking for that information. But obviously a line or two about why you're interested in the scheme in general can be added to the application form.
Cool. Okay, I think again, I don't quite understand that question.
There's a question about interviews and shortlisting. So are interviews and shortlisting done only by partners? So there's multiple stages. Once the call closes, the first stage is the eligibility. This is done by the Turing, by our team. We really check that you tick all the boxes to be eligible for an application for the Turing Internship Network. The second stage is the first shortlisting. This is done by the Turing in-house. And we do an initial shortlisting to ensure that the applications that we receive for each role are actually applications for those roles. So we make sure that students really tick the boxes there, so the requirements for the role. And then once we have that shortlist, all applications will be sent to the partner. The partner will review all the applications, and then decide who they want to invite for an interview. So there's really 4 stages there that your applications goes through. 2 done by the Turing and 2 led by the Turing Internship Network partner.
It seems that many of the roles are remote. In general, how have previous applicants benefited from mentorship, management, and learning at each company? And do previous applicants provide any feedback on their experiences?
Yeah, so we always ask team partners to offer a remote option to facilitate applications, really to facilitate doctoral students to apply for roles. These roles go out to doctoral students all over the country. So for some students may be interested in roles that are based, whose organization is based in London, but they're based in Leeds or, you know, any other parts of the UK. So that remote component really allows them to take advantage of that opportunity and apply. Some students are really happy with the remote type of work. Companies usually, you know, set some weekly meetings, bi-weekly meetings. Things can be organized to really suit your needs and how many, you know, times that you need to touch base with the team. Many partners have hubs or offices around the country. So there is also the possibility to commute if that's something that you would like to do. And partners are also, those partners who have offices and hubs around the country are also happy to host you in the office if that's something that you would like to do, or sort of more often. There's not a rule here. Every single partner has different setups, but yeah, it's really a matter of finding what works for you. If you prefer to have that sort of face-to-face interaction, then obviously applying for a role that offers that component, and for a company or an organization that has an office, it's something to consider.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Right, I have a proposal to work on a future work topic of my previous research. However, that previous research has not been published. Can I still build on this unpublished work in this application? Now, whoever did ask that question, I'm assuming you're asking about IP. So I think you'd probably want to make sure that you'd probably want to be very careful about how you would use any work maybe that you have done that you have not published or have not got a record of that creation, because most likely, and again, it'll depend on the organization that you're working with, you will be working for them, obviously, for that duration on that project. So any work that you do will most likely, but not always, come under they will own the IP to that work. So if you have not published and don't have a good record of this being your work that you had done previously, you might want to think twice about building on that unpublished work. However, I would say, I mean, it's still worth a conversation if you are offered that position, to be quite candid about that, maybe in your interview if you get that far. But you would need to just read through the terms and conditions of the particular role with the organization to be mindful of that. Cool. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, did we ask that question? Was that just now?
So
that's just now.
I think some people are hoping to get some inside information about how many applications we receive for each role. Well, that really depends on each round. The scheme is competitive, so it does definitely attract interest from lots of doctoral students. But I would not, I would invite you to still, if you're interested in a role, to still submit your application, because you never really know. You may have a set of skills and expertise that really attracts the eyes of the partner, and even if, like I said before, even if your research, PhD research doesn't align to the project specifically, we have had many instances in the past in which students were selected because they had that right set of skills, they had that right set of technical and soft skills as well. So you will notice that in a lot of job descriptions, role descriptions, partners are asking for that ability to interface with different stakeholders, that capability to present your any results to different audiences, that communication skills and organizational skills. So please, I invite you to submit an application. Don't be shy, because there are opportunities out there. And I'm gonna add this, is also that it has happened in the past that some team partners really value the expertise of some interns and appointed one intern for the specific role that was advertised, and then created an opportunity for another intern that was included in the interview stage, and really noticed the skill set of that person and created something for them. So there are a lot of opportunities that can come out from this scheme. They are not just related to the ones published. There are opportunities that can come out just by the fact of like interviewing. So I invite everybody to really take the opportunity to submit an application.
I guess this is our final question. So there was some notice of the application saying that part-time, remote and hybrid will be considered, but the main listing states full-time. Is there a preference for a full-time intern? Is there flexibility for the potential intern? And does that affect the consideration?
Partners are really looking for that, for talented data scientists, and they can be really flexible on what they offer based on who they have in front of them. So if you're talented, if you're really bringing what they're looking for, they'll be more than happy to offer that part-time, more flexible work setup for you. So this is really what I can say. So that if you are the right candidate, they'll be very happy to offer something that really suits better to your needs. So yeah, that would be my answer to that question.
Great.
Well, we're wrapping up really. Thank you everybody for joining us today for this information session. We hope that this was useful.
For people who might have missed a bit of the session, when will we post the video? A couple of days?
Yeah, in a few days we'll need to
on the internship application page, which I shall just no, I don't have the link. The link is on the screen. I'm looking at the screen.
You just really need to follow this address, turing.ac.uk/workturing/internships. This is where you will find all the information about the scheme, all the documents that we have mentioned during this today's session, and also the recording. Any questions, the Internship Network team will be able to reply if you email us there. Thank you once again, and we hope to receive both your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.